Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Hot Shots, issue number 3 of 5. It's actually going to go on longer than just the 5 issues, but the first arc is 5 issues. We just don't know when it's going to restart. That's the thing. I actually asked Miss Simone, and she blessed this petty peasant with a little bit of knowledge, with what she could tell me. So, yeah, it will continue eventually. Anyway, guys, let's get started on who wrote this. I may have mentioned Gail Simone is the writer. David Baldion and Michael Shelfer are on art. Jim Charlampidis on colors. That is like the Greekest name I've ever seen in my life. And I'll bet you his real name isn't Jim. I'll bet you it's actually Demetrius. Go ahead. Prove me wrong. And I'm okay with being proven wrong. VC's Clayton Cowles on letters. R.B. Silva and Frank D'Armata on covers. And the art, whatever, this anime art, which is freaking gorgeous, by Rian Gonzalez. Absolutely awesome. This is Cold War, part 3 of 5. So, yeah, dude, we've got some badassery here, as there is a lot of text narration, private thoughts by a whole bunch of different members of this team as we're starting off this comic book, and a couple, dashed and dotted about throughout the comic book. It really emphasizes the comic book. It's one of those few comic books that actually do that. They have text narration. They have the innermost thoughts of the characters. Sorry, I know that David Lynch's Dune is a horrible representation of Dune because, like, they got those guns that are supposed to be the Weirding Way. That's not the freaking Weirding Way. What the hell is that? But they do have a whole bunch of, really good parts of the David Lynch Dune movie, and probably the absolute hands-down best part, besides that awesome Toto soundtrack, is just go listen to the closing credits. Tell me that isn't beautiful. But what do you call it? The internal dialogue, the thought process that you actually hear. It's actually audible while they stand there with that soap opera-esque kind of stare off into the distance as they're audibly thinking about stuff. Like, just, my God, what a visual and audio masterpiece in that regard. Anyway, that's what I have to liken this to. These thoughts that, separated by narration boxes through color, so you know who's talking as if it didn't already tell you who, is freaking amazing. I love this. Probably the best part about this comic book. If it had a contender, this particular issue, a contender for best part of this comic book, it would be Black Widow standing down, making Tony Stark stand down as she stood up to him. Tony Stark is a very interesting character to play. Look, you could just make him the great hero who goes around and saves everybody, but you would completely miss the point of what Tony Stark is. He was created to be like Howard Hughes. That's a character who, you look up to him because he's rich and he gets to live the life that we all wish that we could live, but he's an absolute a-hole about it, and nobody who knows him likes him. He's like the Citizen Kane of rich people, besides Citizen Kane himself. Horrible human being. A lecher. Everyone wants to be him. Nobody wants to know him unless he's paying their bills, in which case you tolerate him. So that is how you play Tony Stark. And the things that Natasha said to Tony, and the way that Tony responded, even before, like, oh, you're alive. Interesting. Good to see. I still can't do you a favor even though you're alive. That's who Tony Stark is. And then her backing him down, that's who Natasha Romanova is. This was gorgeous, man. The way that the characters are portrayed in here, absolutely fantastic. Wade Wilson, Diamondback, getting into a little nookie relationship. Maybe. I like it a lot better than the idea of him getting with Rogue. That was a really great relationship, but we all knew it wasn't going to stay because, Gambit. So, yeah, really good stuff, but come on. You know what I'm saying? This, however, this could actually work. Plus, at the end of the day, who's Diamondback most famous for dating? Yeah, whatever. Who she dated is most famous? Captain freaking America. So, however you want to go with the story in that regards, you know what I'm saying? Because of his love and absolute hate relationship with Captain America, especially ever since the Hydra Cap incident. Dude, I'm down for some relationship talk here between these two, because that would be awesome. It's like, hey, you miss her? Because I'm hitting that now, because that's the stupid stuff that guys would say to each other. You know what I'm saying? what do you call it? But like, no, just all of this, dude. Plus, there's a whole lot of reference. The way that the story is written, that's giving backstory on the Celestials and some of the other cosmic entities and existences, the concepts that exist. I thought it was done really well. Because if you know what she's talking about, you're like, yep, yep, yep. Oh, yeah, and you got a big old smile on your face. And if you don't know what you're talking about, you're going to ask questions. Well, at least I hope you will. And guys, that's what the comments are for below. Plenty of people on Comic Book University who know that space knowledge. True Fan Form, I think his name is. There's a whole bunch of people who can answer a whole lot of your questions, probably all of your questions, as regard to the space aspect of the Celestials and all that good stuff. Or go check out Comic Book University's Spotlight on Story for the Eternals. That right there, the original Jack Kirby story. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of knowledge out there. So I love the way that this is written, because again, it should make you ask questions, audibly ask questions. Something I didn't like about this comic book. Nope, nothing. There's nothing I don't like about this comic book. That's real. Everything about this issue was freaking fantastic. Gee, there's a scene in here, because I got to talk about the freaking art also. And sure, I got no problems with that, bud. Let's talk about the freaking art. It's beautiful art. It's David Baldeón. Come on, why are we having this conversation? Look at stuff like this right here. Look at this. This is a gorgeous scene with all these ladies riding on these motorcycles. I kind of wish that Deadpool was riding on his scooter that they sell with the 6-inch Marvel Legends figures, as opposed to Wolverine's bike, because that's a cool-ass bike, but he belongs on a red scooter. I'm just saying, like a little Honda Spree. I had one of those when I was 14. But right down here, look at Atlas Bear. Look at Shoon'kwa. Like, that is freaking awesome. She's in the little sidecar, the Robin sidecar for the Batman Robin dynamic duo thing. And look, she got her arms crossed to it. Like, I'm sorry, every time I look at that, every single time I look at that freaking, just the look on her face and whatnot. You can't get that kind of body posture and that kind of facial expression to work together in an environment, whatever, without it just simply being freaking awesome. I'm like, you gotta know what you're doing art-wise. And yes, absolutely, this is a great art team. David Baldeón, I mean, come on. And what do you call it? He's also got the help from, from Demetrius? Sorry, I'm and I don't mean to butcher your name, dude. No, Michael Shelfer. Jim did the colors. And I love it, how it's not even front and center, how Atlas Bear is doing that. You gotta really look at the image to look down there and see. It's almost like an Easter egg. It's definitely a treat to see that. A whole bunch of gorgeous art in here. Great storytelling. I am really hoping that this book does continue sooner rather than later. This is a great story. I'm looking forward to what happens next. We're about to go Earthbound Cosmic, and I'm looking forward to it. Guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.